another Sunday morning Samoflange.
Good morning, Samoflange with Matt
and Benjamin. You know, I've come to the realization that you are real.
What gave this away?
Because you smell good. You bathe.
What happened?
I don't know.
You realize your imaginary friends are real when they bathe?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Well, come on. No. And you change clothes too? Because I know I'm not living like beautiful mind, Russell Crowe here. Because you're all different now. It's
Where's my magic marker?
They never age.
That's right.
They always wear the same clothes.
I see dead people.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm real. I'm
wow.
back.
Russell Crowe movies. I could pick maybe two.
Maybe. Russell Crowe.
Beautiful Mind would probably be number one.
I don't think.
No. He did a fighter movie too that I think.
Gladiator was great, but
Gladiator was good, but it doesn't hold up.
It doesn't?
I watched it again recently,
or
a year ago. It was all right, but not as good as I remember.
I loved it back in the day.
I loved it when it came out too.
That's too bad.
I'm trying to think. There was another. Wasn't there a fighter movie he had, Cinderella Man? That was decent.
But I mean,
that may be number two.
Russell Crowe's still in that same category with me of actors looking like they're just being Russell Crowe. Like, just
and I don't think I could.
Tom Cruise.
How dare you, sir?
I don't. Hey, I've never seen Russell Crowe do something really spectacular.
So this month, I let Benjamin pick like two names. One was Emma Thompson. I was like, oh, okay, right on. And the other one, I was thinking, why haven't I thought of that actor? Tom Hanks.
America's father.
The world. There's so many Tom Hanks movies that are good.
He's one of the best actors in the world. And probably one of the most well-known and most beloved.
Yeah.
And, like, as we're recording this, he's probably going to be involved in some awful, like, pedophile scandal or something. But, you know, that's never going to happen.
There's that going on, but, yeah.
But Tom Hanks is so beloved and has been for so many years. And it just, I don't know anyone who does not like this guy. So I think our crossover is going to be fairly high.
Where do you say?
I'm going to go with 3.
I have to go with 4 because I agree with you.
You think so?
It's got to be. I think 3 is a good number.
I say 3 is because he's been in so many movies.
Yeah.
That it's a good chance we're going to miss our top 5.
Well, we'll see.
I mean, mine are pretty easy. Easy.
Mine were easy too, and I have some honorable mentions, and I'll probably agree with all yours too.
Okay.
Because he's really not anything that is bad in, really.
People first. You go ahead.
The real people first. Oh, this. Okay, yeah, sure. Number 5, The Terminal.
The Terminal.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nowhere near my list. Tell me why.
Really, I love the storyline. Spielberg, of course.
Right.
And it takes place in a terminal, and I mean, it shouldn't be that exciting, but it is.
It wasn't.
I thought it was interesting.
Wow,
I really did, because it's a man without a home right now. Of course, his country's gone. So he has to stay in the terminal and live his life there. To be honest, you're talking to a man who got stuck all night in the Atlanta airport. So I know I kind of felt like I was like, man, I should have made friends with the janitor and worked on tiles or something. Yeah,
that's one of the movies that I feel
makes you think
is written by a scriptwriter who was stuck in the airport. You know, like so many
I
people
believe
have
that.
been. Like so many movies have scenes. And this is a theory I have. So many people have, or so many action movies as well. Like, if it's a Michael Bay movie, you're going to have a slow motion helicopter, right? Something makes me believe that Michael Bay owns a helicopter and he flies it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, so many of these people who are scriptwriters look out over tall buildings in their offices and such. That's why there's so many action movies with action scenes where people are jumping from building to building to building, and there's all this parkour happening, because you look out over this sea of cement and these rooftops that are all angled and disheveled.
Right.
How do you not imagine that? It's like when you're in a car as a kid and you're driving past trees and you're thinking, if I had a lightsaber, I could cut all these down like this fast. You know, like everybody's kind of imagined that a little bit. And so that's the thing with The Terminal. It's like that's genius writing. Like somebody made the best of their time being stuck in an airport.
It is, and I just love movies that just make you think about that situation and what would it be like. And that's what that movie did for me.
Really?
It did. I was like, wow, that's interesting, because now you have to live your life in an airport. He always have to go by the Subway or wherever to eat or something, and he always had to do this. And I was like,
What would you do to survive?
What would you do to survive?
Literally got nowhere to go.
And no one can, because of a technicality, can't enter the U.S. now. His visa has to expire.
You can't go home because your country doesn't exist.
Because the country doesn't exist right now. So it's going through an upheaval, and so he's just stuck, and no one knows what to do with him. Eventually, they forget about him, and he's kind of living his life in the airport.
My question then is it in your top 5 because of Hanks's performance, or because it's
both
a movie?
The story and Hanks's performance.
Okay.
With this, I'm considering all the above.
Okay,
how did I enjoy the story and the actor?
I'm not asking to qualify it. I'm just saying, what's your favorite part? I guess is what my question is. Like, do you prefer? Like, is it all about? That's all I was asking.
I like movies that just make you think about.
Because there's a few movies that are on my lists that. Or that will be on future lists even, or that maybe have been in the past that I don't necessarily like the movie that much.
Here's another one too, even though this is a weird connection, but Dawn of the Dead, the remake. Okay. I was like, okay, so you live in a mall during the zombie apocalypse. Sure. What do you do?
Yeah.
How do you get along in a mall? I just like how it puts you in that situation where you would think, well, what would I do?
No, that's a good point.
And so I just kind of like those ideas that put you in that situation. I'm like, that's a unique situation. What would I do in that situation? I just think like that. So
that was exactly what I was about to say. I don't think a lot of people consider that when they're watching a movie. A lot of people just want to sit and be entertained by something.
The other one is the Mist. When they're stuck in the grocery store. Yeah.
Nice.
When they're stuck in the grocery store, I was like, okay, how would you delegate the food?
What you gonna do now?
You got to go with the stuff that you got to eat the stuff that expires first. Yeah. And I was thinking, this is interesting. And it just got me thinking about it. So that's one of those situations that it gets you thinking about it.
I wonder how many people really consider that though.
It doesn't happen to every movie for me, but in a lot of movies, like that's an interesting situation to be stuck in. What would I do?
It's a good what if scenario.
It's a good what if. Wow, what's your number 5?
Catch Me If You Can.
That's a great movie.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Speaking of airports,
I almost had it on there.
Yeah, I love this movie for the story. I love it that the guy, like I work in information security for a living. And so this guy is sort of one of the fathers of deception and finding ways around loopholes and
counterfeiting.
So I love the story just as it is. So
that's Leonardo DiCaprio's character. That's why I didn't pick it, because I like him more.
And I do too. And I like that.
Tom Hanks is good in it too.
But he's not the reason you watch the movie over and over. At least not for me.
No, it's not for me either. That's why it didn't make my top 5.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, though.
It is a very good movie. And I think what I like about Tom Hanks is because that character, again, I like to watch movies and see what could have been a throwaway character, except the actor made it something interesting, like made it worth watching, gave it something. Because a lot of times I think about what scriptwriters have put on the page. A lot of directors will never, ever, ever let you deviate, because Tarantino writes all his stuff, and from what I hear, Tarantino, you do not deviate one syllable from what he's written until he's having one of those days, and he's always on set, and then he says, okay, now try this, and he's like shouting out stuff from the chair. But otherwise, if this is your first Tarantino movie and you're an up-and-coming actor and you try to ad-lib, you can just get out because you're fired. Yeah. And so a lot of actors are hampered by that. And so I feel like that the character that played the cop, or Tom Hanks played that cop that was searching for Abernathy, and hunting him the whole movie, wasn't the most fleshed out character, not that in depth, but Hanks kept me interested in it the whole time, and I cared about what happened to the cop. I cared about the scene when he finally caught him. I cared about
his relationship with him was really good. He had no one to call on the holidays,
right?
But Tom Hanks' character,
and it sold. It worked because of Tom Hanks. That's the reason it made the top 5.
Good one. My number 4 is Big.
We have our first crossover, ladies and gentlemen.
I was hoping so. I was going to throw you out if you don't like Big.
Yes, I love Big with a passion. It's one of the best.
It's one of his earlier movies, maybe my earliest movie on this list.
It's my number 3.
Okay.
It's my number 3.
We're not that far off.
No.
Big is just charming. From top to bottom.
It's a happy movie.
He captures what it be like a kid without looking stupid.
Yep.
Without sounding and acting, a grown man pretending to be a kid.
Exactly.
And it's innocent and it's wonderful. And I think that's where America fell in love with Tom Hanks.
It's totally believable. And you believe that he is, what, 8, 9? How old is he? 10? How old is he?
10, I think, or something like that.
He's like 13 or something.
Can I spend the night? Okay, but I get on top.
Yeah.
The bump bed.
But I get on top. Yeah. Oh my God.
It's good stuff.
I think he was 13 or 14.
You can talk about. Yeah, he was a teen. No, he was a teenager because he kind of shrinks down to waves. It's just great. It's kind of got that movie magic feel, you know, where something magical happens to a child. He wakes up, he gets his wish, and then suddenly he's working with a toy manufacturer who he loves his youthfulness, but it really is youthful. But it's a dream job, and a kid could handle that because a kid. It's almost like when they poll, they would listen to a kid and what he would say, and what'd you be interested in? Because parents don't, adults don't really know what kids want.
No,
so
they don't.
It was in a way believable. And
also that's the exact scene we're talking about. It's like when they're in the boardroom and he's like puts his hand up and says, "Do you have a question?" It's like, I don't get it. Like, what kid hasn't thought that? You've gotten a toy for Christmas and you're like, this is great. Or you see a commercial or something and you're like, why wouldn't they just do this?
He cries at night because it's by himself.
Yeah.
He's all alone. He's
and
scared.
You believe it. And honestly, like, to go to that, since this is in my top 5 too, like, that I was going to say that one of the best acting compliments I've ever gotten from being on stage was someone who's seen a lot of the shows that I've done. And they said to me afterward that they repeatedly were drawn out of the character or drawn out of the play and reminded that they were in a theater when someone else came on stage.
Right.
Because I had let them in and they were captivated, right? And so to have someone who I know and who's close to me and who has said that and seen a lot of the stuff I've done, for them to tell me that even I, in a character, was able to draw them into the story so much that their attention was focused, and then it broke when someone else came in and they were like, oh yeah, I'm out on Friday night on a date or something, but for a few moments there was nothing else except for that character. And that is how I feel when I'm watching Big, because there isn't a single moment of that movie where you see 25, 30-year-old, 35, how old he was at the time, Tom Hanks. You don't see a grown man acting like a kid. You see a kid in a grown man's body, which is absurd. That doesn't happen. It's not possible.
Right.
But we believe that Zoltar machine was real.
Yeah.
Because of Tom Hanks. Like, we believe that Zoltar machine did something.
Knew what was going on.
Knew what was up. There's a reason I still put money in that stupid Zoltar clone rock-off that they have in New Orleans on the French Quarter or on Bourbon Street, because I wanted that happen too. And it's awful, and don't waste your money on it.
It won't work.
It doesn't even give you a fortune or nothing.
I'm telling you.
But
just points at a light bulb.
You still believe it. And it's great. A stupid light bulb is what it was.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is, there's no crying in baseball!
Our second crossover.
Our second crossover is A League of Their Own.
It's great.
First of all, there's no crying in baseball. Are you crying? Like just that alone.
In my opinion, that's his best quote.
That's his. Are you looking at me?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's.
And then the 7-minute pee.
And then the 7-minute pee.
Or whatever long. It was great.
I agree.
I always think about that when I have to pee really long. I'm thinking I cannot beat
there isn't a
man
alive who doesn't think about that scene.
I know.
When you really gotta go. You don't not think about that scene if you've seen that movie.
I love
it. FYI, if you're listening to this amazing, incredible show that Matt Wilkins has produced, and you've never seen A League of Their Own, and you're a man, or you, at least if you have a penis, and you have to urinate a lot, this movie will literally change your life. And I'm not saying that in a good way, necessarily, but I'm just telling you that for the rest of your life, you will really think about urinating in a different way.
Solid movie.
There's just no getting around it. And that speaks volumes. Just the fact that scene is so ubiquitous with just really having to go to the bathroom.
I love the history behind it.
The history behind
the women's league.
Oh yes.
I love baseball. I love the time it took place, the era in which it takes place
during the World War II draft and stuff.
It's my number 1.
Is it really?
I just love it.
A League of Your Own.
I just love it. I don't think anyone else would put it as number 1. And I have a hard time between that and my top 3. Anyone in my top 3 can be number 1. Anyone in my top 3 can be number 1.
Switch them out.
I can switch them out.
Really? All 3 of your top
All 3 of them. But I picked League of My Own because I just love it.
I thought you were talking about the history behind it. I thought you were talking about
I'm sorry.
Men peeing in movies.
Yes.
Because that's
the pee scene. He had me at pee.
What?
He had me at pee. Just like Renee, Tom Cruise had Renee Zellweger at Hello. He had me at the pee. The pee scene, I was like, done.
No,
that was the deciding factor.
No, I'm talking about how scriptwriters put a man peeing in almost every movie ever made.
It's
an in joke. It's
top 5 pissing scenes.
No, we're not doing that because we already have number 1, and that wouldn't be any good.
There's only one number 2, and I can't think of anything else. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. So, have you seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
I don't remember Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I'll tell you after this mic gets off.
Please, let's not talk about.
But it's a great pissing scene. Anyway,
but I'm talking about like the Wilhelm scream is a classic sound effect, right?
Yes.
And only people who know about it hear it, but then once you hear it, you don't unhear it.
Gotcha.
And pissing in a movie is a classic throw in like the Wilhelm scream.
Right.
You're almost always going to have it, and scriptwriters always try to add it in some creative way. Sometimes it's pretty blatant and obvious, but you've always got guys peeing, and I hate it. I hate it. It's stupid, but it's always there. So anyway.
All right. So wait, where are we? Is it my number 3? You sniped my number 3.
I was at Catch Me If You Can, number 5. League of Their Own was my 4. Big was my number 3. So I'm on my number 2.
So I'm on my. Hold on. Let me get my number 3.
I shouldn't say it that way. We've just been talking about piss.
Hey, all right, my number 3.
Okay.
All right. So far we have 2 crossover, right?
We've had 2 so far.
Where does Saving Private Ryan come in?
It's not even on the list.
Whoa!
No,
I absolutely love that film.
I hate it.
I've
seen Saving Private Ryan one time.
Wow.
And for the rest of my life, I will watch it one time.
How dare you?
Never.
It's a great movie.
No.
Actually, this is a movie where the soundtrack really helps it out too, but it's just a great movie.
Who did the soundtrack?
I can't remember if it was Hans Zimmer or something, but I just remember absolutely loving it.
Tell me. I'm fascinated.
It's just good.
I mean, it's okay.
The music behind as it goes through, because the whole thing, and I like the whole switcheroo.
Now tell me why you like the movie in general. You like the whole switcheroo.
I like the story. They're just going in to get one man out.
Yeah.
And it's not a this is the end of the world, this is the key to unlocking the entire war. No. They're just following some dudes trying to get a man out. I mean, that's it. Because it's the only living son, and they're like, we can't have her whole family just die. So we need to save this one man. And so Tom Hanks mans a crew, and they go after him. And it's not like it's an insignificant part of the war. And I like that. I don't know. I just really enjoyed the film.
So
it looks beautiful.
In this case,
Tom Hanks does a great job.
That's my question.
Commander in Chief.
In this case, is it the film, the story that draws you in?
It's all of it.
Is it the what if?
It's all. Well, I wouldn't say what if because I don't put myself in that situation. But I like the uniqueness of the storyline.
This is okay. So we know Tom Hanks is a big World War II buff and an anti-war advocate. Like this was an anti-war movie. Yeah. He wanted people to not glorify war, but for this. Partly. That's part of the reason that he wanted to make this was to take the glory out of it and to make it awful and on purpose because it's awful.
Okay.
And he was very instrumental in Band of Brothers, which I adore and have watched.
I love Band of Brothers.
I have watched Band of Brothers repeatedly over and over again. And he had a huge hand in that.
Yep.
If you've ever been to the World War II Museum in New Orleans, have you been there and seen that?
No.
It's one of the top 10 museums in the entire world for a reason. And he headlines the movie, the 4D experience that's in the
Of course
museum.
He does, yeah. He's a big fan.
And it's phenomenal. And it really recommend going to the New Orleans World War II Museum if you've never been.
Okay.
It's really worth it. And it's got the same vibe as Saving Private Ryan too. It's like it doesn't glorify war at all. It's like, look at this tragedy we're going to put on display here.
Right.
And look at what Americans did wrong, too.
Correct.
It's not just a rah-rah USA sort of museum. It's
war's an ugly thing.
War's an ugly thing, and we really screwed up, and let's not ever do this again, please. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful place. I am a huge Tom Hanks fan, and I love that he's a advocate for all that. But what about him did you like in this movie?
I mean, I just said I like the character he played.
That's it, though?
I like
because you could put me in that role or anybody in that. You put Tom Cruise in that role. In that case,
maybe, but there's a lot of actors you could switch out for a lot of roles. I'm not saying it's a sole role, but I just really love the movie.
I guess that's where my delineation is with my top 5 list for actors is that I'm not picking these based on the movie. I'm picking it based on performances, I think, more than anything. Now that as I'm saying it, I think that's it.
I thought he had a very believable character. He's got one mission, is to take him home.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to do this.
Yeah, I like the story.
He wants to do other things.
Right.
So
the story
I don't know. I like it.
Here's the reason I'll never watch it again. It's not because I didn't like the movie. I didn't like it, but I'll never watch it again because it was such an anti-war movie and it got me too hard.
That's fair.
And I can't watch that. That's the reason I don't watch gangster movies. We just found out with Al Pacino last week.
Right.
Is I can't deal with that, and I don't like it. I don't like exposing myself to it and then feeling that stuff.
Fine.
So, and then when I'll never forget for as long as I live though, home dude coming down the stairs with the bayonet and him not doing anything about it. When that awful scene in the middle, but whatever.
Right.
Moving on.
He pisses on a dead hooker. In Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he pisses on a dead. It's accident. But then he has to call his buddy. His buddy goes, "Why'd you piss on a dead hooker?" He said, "I didn't know she was there." I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. All right, so what's your number? Is it 3?
It was waiting for it.
It was 2?
We're on my number 2.
Okay, I gotta get my number 2 then, right?
So how much crossover have we had so far?
Oh, right now we only had 2, so you're gonna win.
Then where's Castaway?
Because obviously, well, number 2.
Number 2.
No, number 2 is Saving Mr. Banks.
Is it really?
Yeah, I put Saving Mr. Banks again.
Again.
I love his portrayal.
A genius movie.
His portrayal as Walt Disney
is my
good.
Honorable mention.
Okay, that's fine. So we both were wrong on this one because we don't have any other crossover after this. But I'll be honest, Saving Mr. Banks is good on both. Because, like I said, in my opinion, everyone worked in that movie. Everyone worked in that movie, and Walt Disney. Obviously, Tom Hanks really studied hard for the role, like he always does. But he felt like, he just felt like Walt is so iconic a character.
Is a larger than life personality.
It's hard to feel someone that everyone knows. It's easy to feel someone that we didn't know that much about before their autobiography was made or whatever. But everyone knows who Walt Disney is. Everyone knows who he was and everything. And to portray him, he did a really good job. I'll be honest. Missed opportunity was when he did Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Which I still haven't seen.
It's okay, but he's not a Fred Rogers.
Really?
He's not.
I'm surprised.
He does his best. He does his best impersonation, but it's Tom Hanks impersonating Fred Rogers.
Interesting.
I couldn't get it. I could get Walt Disney.
Yeah, I could get Walt Disney. But do you think part of that is, though, that we grew up sort of watching Mr. Rogers, and several episodes probably of that have been seen by us, but we've never met Walt Disney.
That's true too, but
honestly I haven't seen much video of Walt Disney.
Oh, really? Well, I felt that his portrayal of Walt Disney was done well.
I can agree. I have seen more clips of Walt Disney after that movie came out, and I'm surprised at how shockingly similar they are. And that's not that surprised with Tom Hanks doing it.
I've been to Disney World a few times by then and seen the reels of Disney and stuff talking, but yeah.
Okay.
All right. So number 1 for you is
Forrest Gump.
Oh, that was funny. The only reason Forrest Gump didn't make it because I saw that late in life, only a few years ago for the first time, 2 years ago.
No kidding.
Yeah, never seen it. It was one of my top 5 movies I'd never seen. I watch it. It's great. It's great. It's a great movie. Just didn't make my top 5 because I guess I didn't have that memorable experience like back in the day. Forrest Gump was the movie we would tell my mom we were going to watch when we saw Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, God.
That's the honest truth. My mom thought I watched Forrest Gump 13 times that summer.
I've heard that story.
Yeah. Forrest Gump was the go-to movie for watching R-rated movies.
Wow.
But anyway, tell me why you like Forrest Gump. It's a great movie.
I don't have to tell you or anyone else why I like Forrest Gump. And I don't think I'm gonna. Because it's none of your business. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I have never seen a movie that was written in such a unique way. There's 2 reasons I really like Forrest Gump. One is the writing of how he inspired so many historical events that we know. Elvis's dance, the Watergate scandal, Alabama Crimson Tide football championship, whatever things he went through that were just history-altering moments in the world that we all know, but we didn't realize that he inspired John Lennon to write Imagine. It's like, but he is. He was behind all of it. The second reason I love, I guess there's 2 and 3, is that there's not a single picture that Forrest takes in the entire movie. He takes a lot of pictures, and all of them his eyes are closed, and that apparently was a choice that Forrest Gump or that Tom Hanks made as an actor, or it was a collaboration between him and the director to always have Forrest's eyes closed in all these famous photos. And then 3, because that was a big deal before cell phones. Is that
right?
If you didn't like, oh, my eyes are closed.
You could retake it.
You get the camera developed. You send
that
the film
way. You
off,
miss the chance to see what. Yeah.
And Forrest Gump's whole life, like there is no do-over.
Yeah.
There's no cell phone or Polaroid.
It was never the perfect picture.
It's always a screwed up picture.
That's
and
good.
It's like,
I never knew that.
How many pictures have you thrown away, or my mom or whomever? They're like, it was a perfect picture, but my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times I've heard that. And so I love all the details like that go into that movie. I adore. And then finally is the way that he met young Forrest from Mississippi. He really spent time with him to develop that accent and that way of speaking. That was based on a real kid, like the real. I forget the kid's name. But I want to say it was the kid who played young Forrest in the movie as well.
Okay.
His real Southern Mississippi drawl.
That was good.
Is Forrest Gump. And
right.
Tom Hanks spent a lot of time in pre-production with him learning his speech pattern. And that's nice. What that whole famous phrase is based on. And like all those diphthongs that he does, like box of chocolates, like the up and down, that's a real Mississippi accent that he learned from this kid. And he kept it at a 6-year-old, 7-year-old mentality on purpose.
Right.
And kept that accent on purpose. And it was a long movie, but also by the end of it, like he was tired of it. He's famously sick of that movie, and he was sick of it before they finished filming. And the only person who's gotten him to say "Life is like a box of chocolates" was like James Lipton on Inside the Actor's Studio,
right?
Because he won't say it for interviewers and people. Like, he's like, "No, I'm not doing. I'm done with it." And he was tired of it. By PR time, he was really tired.
Like
of it.
They backed up the money truck for a sequel.
What?
But a sequel. He was going to run through the next few decades or whatever.
Ooh, okay.
But they said it's the same movie over again.
Okay.
So they said no.
Yeah, I mean, he was tired of it before the first one was over, so I don't blame him. But
it was a good film, though.
But yeah, I loved it. Yeah. For all those little details. It's the tiny things that I love so much in movies, especially. 2
honorable mentions.
Hit me.
These are odd. Polar Express is
wow. Couldn't disagree with you more on that. Another one time only. Never.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's not a Christmas classic, but I enjoyed it.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
All right.
And then Joe versus the Volcano.
Wow.
An old one, which I think is funny.
Like Turner and Hooch is funny too in some ways.
I might put that one in there. I do not put Castaway in there. I did not enjoy Castaway.
You didn't?
No.
Castaway I can rewatch again and again because of, again, it's just my choices versus liking the movie. But it's the details that he gives it. And again,
gotcha.
There's a short list of actors who could pull off that movie and just be about just them in a volleyball. But everybody cares about Wilson, and I actually have Wilson on my top of my refrigerator, and I've had him there for years. I've traveled across the country many times, and Wilson's always been on my dashboard. He's my travel buddy. But Tom Hanks' performance is the reason we give a shit about Wilson.
That's true.
And
that's true.
That to me that cannot be done by Tom Cruise or Matthew McConaughey or another actor just being themselves. That means we believe that guy loves Wilson with all his heart, and he's brokenhearted that he's flown away. Like, I don't know anyone else who could have sold me like that on that. So that's the reason I put him up there. Castaway in there.
Okay. Any other honorable mentions?
Nope.
No more.
Turner and Hooch, maybe.
I enjoyed Turner Hooch. It's been a while, but I remember that was being funny. It's funny how he's transitioned. He used to be the comedy guy.
Yeah.
A lot of his early stuff is comedy because that's who he was. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but he was the comedy guy.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't like
what was
Splash.
he on? What was he on? SCTV or something?
I don't know.
I can't remember. He used to do comedy bits and stuff. And so then he grew, and you're right, and he's matured into a great actor who's done several different roles, stretches different characters. Now he's usually I mean, obviously when you get this big, you pick the movie you want to make, but doing those biopics of Sully and whoever else, and showing his good impersonations of everyone. Like I said, the Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood one.
I think that was impersonation.
Man, he did great, but no, you're not Fred Rogers.
Interesting.
I mean, it was fine too, because I wanted to see that movie.
I haven't wanted to cry recently, so I haven't made myself watch it. But
it's endearing. I don't know.
That's what I've been told is that if I want to cry about it, then I'll go.
I don't think you would cry about it.
Okay.
No, I think it's just endearing. It's just nice, and I mean, it's who Fred Rogers was.
Yeah.
You know, he got the ump down, but and all the clips. It's obviously they're just he did the study.
Like the new submarine movie he just did, and the
yeah.
Like it just came out on Apple TV or whatever, or fairly recently, but as an exclusive to them, timed exclusive to them, I guess. But I don't know, like a lot of movies like that, I feel like are just like I can take it or leave it kind of.
That's true. I'm for those movies too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway. All right, folks. That's it for now.
That's it for now.
Hey, we'll see you next time.
We will see you next time on Saturday.
Morning.
Samoflange.
Oh.